Hey beautiful souls, well welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Isabel Frank. I am a psychic medium, but most importantly, I help people develop their intuition, embrace their spiritual gifts, and really find their inner truth. But today, I am so excited because we're diving into something that you guys have really been asking for. And those are practical steps to really help you to strengthen your intuition on a daily basis. So whether you're just starting out or you've already been on this journey for a while, these steps are going to really help you to feel confident and connected to that inner voice. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to also be sharing a bit about what intuition feels like, because let's face it, sometimes it's really hard for us to know, is this really our intuition speaking, or is it just fear and we're overthinking it? I know I'm not alone. You guys can comment below. You can like this if you agree, whatever. But let's talk about what intuition feels like, because before we jump in, you need to know this. And I remember when I first started out, I've been doing this for a very long time. I actually, to be honest, that's a whole nother video. I was 6 years old when I first got my abilities and I started understanding them. But as I became an adult, there was points I really stopped trusting myself and I was constantly second guessing. And I think, is this my intuition or am I just overthinking? It can be a really fine line, honestly, especially if you're coming out of a place where you've been in a toxic situation or you've been manipulated into doubting yourself. But here's the thing about intuition. It feels calm, almost like a whisper, and it's not pushy. And because it's not pushy, it's the reason why we second guess it. It doesn't feel anxious and it doesn't feel chaotic. For me, it's very grounded and the quiet knowing. I want you to take all the ego and all logic out of intuition, okay? Because even though it feels quiet and it's grounded, like when you just know someone's going to call you or you feel pulled to go somewhere for no logical reason, this is your intuition. It's not loud, but it's clear. Have you ever had that weird gut feeling? Maybe you should go to a certain event or you should take a different route home. And then you do it and you're like, that's why. That was your intuition speaking to you. Or on the flip side, you fear or overthinking is loud, right? So it's full of like all these what ifs. Again, like if you have a lot of these what ifs, like what if that, what if this, what if that, you are giving away, by the way, your energy to all the what ifs. So that is technically, you're draining your energy in a false reality. And it really can make you feel very anxious. So if you feel like you're spiraling or you're getting worked up, that's usually not your intuition. Intuition doesn't demand your attention. It just is this really gentle nudge. Okay. Are you ready? Because we're going to get into the practical steps that you can start doing right now to really strengthen your intuition. It's like building a muscle. And these are super simple, but over time, they're going to really help you to connect more deeply with your intuitive side. By the way, I'm going to put it below a link. I have a free intuition download, a guide if you're interested, that you can kind of practice some of these things as well. Okay, but here's the number one. Morning check-in. Every morning, we're going to start making this a habit. Before you check your phone or jump into your day, take a moment. I like to do it when I'm still laying in bed. I haven't put my feet on the floor yet. And just sit with yourself. It's a great time for you to connect to your intuition, to your spirit team, and your spirit guides. It's often the time we get the most nudges. So just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and ask yourself, what do I feel today? What's my body telling me? And just feel it. Just feel and just listen. And this helps you to become aware of those subtle feelings and those nudges that you might otherwise get drowned out by the noise of the day. For me, this has been a game changer. This is a must every single morning. Every morning. As a matter of fact, I think my boyfriend's become so used to it because he'll be like, what were your messages this morning? So I started to notice how my body would really feel light when something was aligned, and I felt really heavy when it wasn't. The more I did this, the more I trusted those feelings. Number 2 is journaling for intuition. By far my favorite. I like to get my coffee. I love to ground my journal. But again, you can do this at any point of your day. Journaling is one of the most easiest and most effective ways to strengthen your intuition. Every night, you're going to take 5 minutes. Just write down any intuitive hits, your gut feelings that you had that day. Even the small ones, like maybe you felt like calling someone or something told you to hold back from saying something. Then write it out. How did it turn out? I also tell people, grab your cell phones and use your cell phones as a little notepad and notebook and just start teaching yourself how to pay attention. You're listening, you're engaging. Your spirit team is like, wait a second, they're starting to notice us more. So they may start showing up for you more. They actually will. This is about building trust with yourself. You're training your brain to recognize intuition and your intuitive messages and really track how they play out. It's really exciting. It's really fun to go back and be like, this is why I felt this. And oh my gosh, I saw this. Watch things align. Just watch it. I want you to, number 3, really start small. You don't have to start with these big life decisions to practice your intuition, and most of you guys do start with big life decisions. Start with small things like what you feel drawn to eat that day. Which route should you take to work? I used to love playing with essential oils. I used to ask, does this oil work or does this oil work? Which podcast to listen to? So ask yourself, what feels right, and see where it leads you. I remember when I started doing this, I'd ask myself, like, which coffee shop I should go to or which book should I buy? And sometimes I would end up learning something or meeting someone new or overhearing a conversation. And there was a reason why my guides and my team would direct me to certain places. So allow yourselves to have those aha moments, because intuition loves to show up in all these little ways and little things. Okay, are you still following along? Great. Number 4 is a meditation for intuition. I got a couple. You can go back. You can try some of those out. I have a great spirit guide one. I'll tack it on here. But meditation is like the gym for your intuition. It quiets the mind so that you can hear that inner voice more clearly. You don't have to sit in silence for an hour. A simple 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. I think people tend to get really overwhelmed with meditation because they think I have to do an hour. No, 5 to 10 is fine. Focus on your breath. Just focus on breathing and keep the focus on your breath. And if you get any random thoughts or feelings, just notice them. Okay, I like to imagine a little treasure chest, and I say, I notice you, I'm going to put you in the chest for later, and then I keep on going. Often these random thoughts are intuitive hits trying to come through sometimes. Personally, I started out with just breathing and listening to classical music. That's all I would do. And I would just notice where my mind floated, where it would wander, the thoughts that come in. It wasn't until I got quiet enough that I realized how much guidance was already there. It was just waiting for me to listen. And we don't know how to listen because we're constantly talking, always. Number 5 is trust your first feeling. I know you guys have known this when you're like, I should have just did the first thing I thought of. Have you ever gotten a gut feeling about something, but you talk yourself out of it? Start paying attention to that first feeling before the doubt creeps in. That's usually your intuition speaking. Trust it and don't judge yourself. If it doesn't always make sense, sometimes intuition is going to guide you down a path that seems illogical, but it turns out to be exactly what you needed. I can't tell you how many times I've ignored the first feeling only to regret it later. And some of these first feelings I've gotten, I have carried on for years and then been like, I should have listened a year ago. But when I finally started trusting it, is what I wanted to say, I realized that those initial gut feelings were always right. Okay. Now that you know for sure it's intuition and not just fear overthinking, here are a few signs. Intuition is calm and neutral. Doesn't feel like that desperate, urgent feeling. It comes, like I said, again, from a place of calm. So if you feel rushed or anxious, that's likely fear or overthinking. Intuition is very consistent. It will usually repeat itself over and over and over again. I like to tell people it's like a broken record, but it's also this really gentle nudge where you're like, why can't I stop thinking about this? Or why does this keep coming to my mind? Fear is more erratic and very chaotic, and it's constantly changing the script up in your head. 3, intuition is very physically grounded. So you might feel like intuition in your body. It can be a sense of peace, a sense of just lightheartedness, lightness. And this can be like maybe there's a certain decision you're trying to make and you feel guided to go in a direction that's not very logical for you or not very practical of you, but you feel so peaceful and you feel so light. That's usually your intuition. Whereas fear feels tight, it feels heavy, it's in my chest, it's in my throat. Intuition also, remember this part, intuition does not require any justification. It just doesn't. So if you find yourself trying to explain or rationalize a gut feeling, that's often your mind getting into the way. Intuition doesn't need an explanation, it just is. So for example, I've had moments where I suddenly knew not to work with a certain client. Honestly, it's like I just should not work with this client, even though on paper everything looked fine. Everything looked perfect. The logic wasn't there because, again, I don't know this client. I don't know why I would feel like this, but the inner knowing was so strong and unwavering. And I've learned to really honor that feeling. Every time I ignored it, I've regretted it 100%. A sign it's your intuition speaking is that even if it doesn't make sense at first, it feels right. It's like aligning with a deeper truth that doesn't need external validation. I want to share with you be really personal with you all, because I think it's a perfect illustration of how intuition can really show up in a daily life. A few years ago, some of you guys all might be familiar with my story, some don't. I was faced with a decision that was so life-changing. It didn't make any logical sense on paper. There was no logical sense of what I was choosing to do. But everything pointed to me moving in this direction. Logically, it didn't look stable. Logically, it was really scary. It didn't make sense to anyone around me, but something in my gut, in my heart, was telling me to make a certain move and direction. This is what you do. It was a deep feeling in my gut that I couldn't ignore, and I chose to trust it. And even though it scared me, and that's when everything changed. I took a leap. I started a new job. I opened up my business again here right during COVID. I took a leap. I got my life coaching certificate. I did mindset coaching. I did health coaching. And I started seeing clients full time from all over the world. My business really began to thrive, and it didn't make sense. And this can go after one thing, from leaving relationships that didn't make any logical sense to leave, to jobs that I'd taken that make no logical sense of what I was doing. But at the end of the day, it's all paid off. Always. That's why it's so important for you to listen to your intuition. That's why it's so important for you to practice these steps, because intuition strengthens when we trust it over time. People ask, how do you do reading so fast? Or how do you do what you do? It's because I've learned to listen and not doubt it. And I just respond quickly, quickly, quickly. And intuition's not always about these big leaps, but it really is about, sometimes it's just the small daily decisions that we start making, and we begin to see how truly powerful your intuition is, how truly powerful you are. All right, that's pretty much it for today. Make sure you guys go download my free intuition guide. But most importantly, I really hope that these practical steps help you to feel more connected to your intuition, and they really give you the confidence to trust it more. Let me know in the comments what practices you're going to try, or if you've had even any intuitive experience and you want to share. I love hearing your stories. I really love getting your emails. I love reading your comments. So make sure to like this video if it resonated with you, and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. All right, I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great day, night, whatever you're at. I'll talk to you. Bye. Talk to you. Bye. I'll talk to you later. Bye.